Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and this is going to be a review of 4 Papsikel 3D prints. So these are from Etsy. I can't remember the buyer, so but if you go on Etsy you'll be able to find them. So this is the Colonial Marshal, which looks kind of like the uniform from Sean Connery movie. I can't remember the name of it now. If you can remember, put it in the comments below. This is Captive Annie, I think it was called, and she looks like she'd be dragged around the jungle while, you know, a predator might be chasing her, etc. I think that might be the idea behind this miniature, and it's a really nice sculpt. All of these sculpts are really clean. Papsikel, you kind of know what you're getting. They're very good 3D files. So then we got this Executive Liaison, sort of like a Weyland-Yutani troubleshooter, if you will. Yeah, really nice looking miniature. There's even actually a WY on her back, on that little backpack, to denote what company she's a troubleshooter for, which is kind of nice. And I think she's going to pay up really nice. So then we have the Mercenary Stalking Prey, I think it's called. This really sort of cool power armor sort of dude. Yeah, really nice looking guy. Looks a little bit like someone from Marvel or something. I'm trying to think how to paint him up. He's going to be a bit more of a challenge than the others. I want to make him a bit sort of superhero, supervillain-esque paint scheme, so maybe quite a bright paint scheme for him and make him pop, but we'll see what I get up to when we get to it. So this is the Executive Liaison. Now you might immediately notice that I have broken her barrel off her gun. I didn't think it was a big deal. It doesn't look terrible even with it broken off, but yeah, it is broken off. That was my fault. I smacked it on something. But yeah, I think she's a really nice miniature. I painted her up in this light blue. She will stand out a little bit from my Colonial Marines, and she will blend in maybe with my Peacekeepers actually from Mantic. But yeah, that's, again, I like the colour, so I've used it a lot. As you can see, there's a Weyland-Yutani insignia on the back of her backpack, which is kind of cool, and I'm quite glad I managed to pick it out, although it's a tiny little detail. She looks suitably tough and yeah, well armored. The weapons and all look really nice, and as you can see, the print job was really nice, and so is the posing, etc. I used the Necromunda bases for these miniatures, and I'm going to try and keep that for all my Papsikel miniatures, so that they got sort of a unifying base. Then we have the Colonial Marshal. So she's dressed up in her colonial blue officer's uniform, and yeah, really, again, nice miniature, nicely posed, you know, a bit more static than the other one, but she's, you know, she looks good, she's nicely proportioned, etc. Yeah, really quite like her. Made her a ginger. Figured, why not? I don't have many ginger miniatures, so why not make her a ginger miniature? As you can see, she's quite a bit shorter than this one. I think this one must be a 32mm, and this one's a 28mm, because she seems quite a bit bigger than the other one. If I bring in a Frostgrave Wizard, see, as you can see, she is quite a tall lady, but if you put her next to the Executive Liaison or Corporate Liaison, you can see she's way taller, like, and she's even slightly sort of stretching her legs out, so she's a little bit, you know, shorter than she could actually be. Then we have Captive Annie, I think her name was. So yeah, really nice miniature, again, nicely posed. I do like the way she's kind of like leaning forward. I suppose if you were quite smart about it, you could get some sort of wire or something and have that sort of trailing off, leading to someone else, like they're dragging her, you know, along. Again, I've used the same sort of bases so that I get some sort of uniform thing, so when I put them all together, they all look like they belong to my, well, actually 5 parsecs from home at the moment. I'm going to be using them for, but whatever future game, you know, they're going to look like they belong together. I'm quite happy with the way I painted them, and like I said, the print job is really nice on these miniatures. So then we have the Stalking Mercenary, I think it's called, and I'll show you that one now. So this is what I managed to paint him up like. So this is the Stalking Mercenary or something like that. I finally figured out what he looked like. It was Crossbones, I think he's called, from the Marvel universe. He was in one of the Marvel movies. Not that I'm a huge fan of them, but yeah, I thought I did recognize him from somewhere. And this guy is kind of that sort of inspired by miniature. So yeah, it's not a bad paint job. I painted him up like in a day, so he's, you know, he's maybe a little bit rushed because I needed to get him done for this video. So yeah, maybe not as good as he could be, but I really like the miniature. I think the miniature is very cool and would be a really good villain. But also, you know, I can picture him being amongst my crew members of 5 parsec. I like the way he's sort of just striding, like he's got not a care in the world. I decided on like these purple coveralls, sort of minor or, you know, prisoner maybe colouring. Sort of the idea is that my dwarfs from the Mantic Dead Zone universe have got these orange coveralls, and I kind of matched that sort of aesthetic, even though this guy is definitely not a dwarf. He's quite a tall fellow, but yeah, I liked painting him. I enjoyed, you know, there's plenty of detail on him without there being too much detail, which, you know, is often a problem with miniature designers. But Papsikels, as always, have created a really nice miniature here. So that'll be this video for this Friday. Usually I do a battle report for a Friday video, but unfortunately things have got in the way, so it's just going to be this review of these miniatures. And yeah, I hope that's okay with you guys, you know, just life got in the way. At some point there will be a how I painted this miniature going up. At the time I was painting it, I did have quite terrible shakes in my hands and my carpal tunnel was playing up, so yeah, it might not be my best painted and it might not be my best tutorial, but you know, keep an eye out for it, and I'd be interested in your comments, etc. So do the usual YouTube things. I do reply to every single comment, and, you know, maybe subscribe, like, all those wonderful things. Thanks for bearing with me, and it's going to be goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer. So instead of my usual Friday battle rep,